And I've got my phone next to me with headphones and stuff, so I can like check the audio first, and I'll give it a minute. But yeah, I see that you're streaming and stuff, so I'll wait for it to pop on my phone, and then I'll say hello. In fact, let me check my end. 22. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, cool. Right. So hello everybody. First, I'm just gonna take like a minute just to check the audio, because like I'm just gonna be honest, the reputation for Den audio is awful, like particularly on stream. See, I knew it'd be bad, right? I mean, okay. Let's see if we can get it fixed. Alex, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but we're getting it from both sides. Get this sorted. Last time it just kind of like fixed after a couple of minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully it'll just click into place. Oh, dude, there's already too many people in here listening to this like broken audio. Oh wait. Okay, test it. Let's see. Weird, it starts like every single stream like it for some reason. It might be a channel like bug or something. There we go, I think. Okay, cool. That's so broken, dude. Like how are they cool with that? I'll have to message I'll have to message YouTube and just get it sorted like through them, because it's weird. It like takes like 4 minutes each time or something. Anyway. Okay, right. Let's get it started. So, hey everyone, welcome back to the stream. Today we're diving into One Piece chapter 1127, Adventure in the Mysterious Kingdom, if I remember the title correctly, but I'll get into it in a sec. It's an exciting chapter that takes us deeper, or starts our journey into the Elbaf arc with, you know, the protag Luffy and the rest of the Straw Hats, blah, 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 blah. And nothing new or too spicy yet, which is kind of like so standard for One Piece at this point. Like after 30 years, you just know it's going to be like Wano just took forever. That the intro to the arc just went on forever. Okay, so we've also got the Lego world to talk about. We've got the Monster Trio, which was pretty cool. Chopper's whereabouts. Make sure you're subbed and all that stuff. And I might just straight into reading the full summary and just like pop in it. So, right. Okie dokie. So, let me pull it up 1 second. Alrighty, so Oda's cooking again. We got another one going. Right, short chapter, only 15 pages. It's been a mix since the end of Egghead of kind of like big chapters and little chapters, particularly at the very end of Egghead. People are very quick to point out short chapters, but some of the chapters at Egghead were like 24 pages or some craziness. So I'm not complaining, and yeah, it'll just hopefully just go through the Elbaf stuff pretty quick and get to the like spicy bits. But anyway, chapter opens Adventure in the Mysterious Land. The cover story is Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 15. Yamato meets Inarashi, who is shown to be the Kuri, the daimyo of Kuri, stood at the shore, and Inuarashi is also troubled by the kidnappings that we saw in the previous like parts of the cover. I'm not sure. I think it was the one before last, right? The last one I think was Yamato at Odin's castle, but I don't know. There's a lot of chapters at this point. Who knows? Okie dokie. So chapter starts in Elbaf, in a giant village, and all the houses in the village are made of Lego blocks, right? So it's not just the castle, basically. Like, it's a whole, like, obviously it says village, right? There's giants there, and they're talking about a fire that suddenly started in, like, the nearby forest. And then they go to put out the fire so that it won't damage the Yggdrasil tree, right? The Yggdrasil tree. So within the first few, like, parts of the chapter, we're already dropping massive nukes, right? Which is pretty much confirmation of Yggdrasil. So bang, bang. Like, the theories are going to pop off from now. And, like, obviously people have been theorizing about Yggdrasil for a long time. So we see that the giants are shocked because there are giant bees falling from the sky, right? Like, so it's as if the bees have been attacked by something, and they're just dropping out of the sky, like knocked out and whatnot. Another giant talks about something that happened in the forest. So, as I said, there's a nearby forest, and they're concerned about what's going in there. Then we see the bees drop out of the sky, and then we see one of the giants say something about something that's, whatever happened in the forest. Right, Giant 1 says, according to the people in the forest, the rumble just now is the sound of Ea God falling to the ground, right? Ea God, E-A-R. So that's very close to Earth God, E-A-R-T-H. And we know, well, if you've seen my videos, then I speculate pretty hard at this point that Emu is a manifestation of the Earth or the Earth God or something along them lines. And we know that the sun god has ties to Elbaf, right? So we know that, like, Elbaf, the Adam Tree, blah blah blah, is probably going to rival the far east of the One Piece world, which is Marijua and the Earth God Emu, stuff like that. So straight off the bat, Oda's dropping some parallels pretty much to Emu and Joy Boy. Giant 2 replies, that can't be. How can something happen to a rabbit of that size, right? Okay, cool. So, and I'll go back through this and we'll, like, get into the details. We'll get into the details, don't worry. So, cut to the castle, right? And it's called Big Stein Castle, which is the Lego castle where Nami was inside, right? So, Big Stein Castle, interesting name. Stein, like, I'm a German speaker, and Stein, to me, first thing that I think of is, like, a liter tankard of, like, beer, right? But I think the actual point here is probably Nordvanstein, which is the castle in, I'm not sure if it's on the border of Austria and Germany, or I'm not sure, maybe I'm confused, but I've been there a couple of times, and it's what the Disney castle is based off, okay? And, like, you would have seen pictures of it yourself, like, most definitely. So we're seeing that, like, the Lego castle is called the Big Stein Castle, and out from the outside, all the castles made from Lego blocks, blah blah blah, and the trees around it as well. So we can see that Nami has defeated a giant bee thanks to Zeus, right? She's using Zeus to attack these bees. Zeus asked Nami where they are, like where Nami and Zeus are, because obviously they reappeared wherever. And Nami, who's, like, crying, says she doesn't know. The last thing that she remembers is they were on the giant's ship. And then Nami's sort of screaming, someone help me, someone help me. Luffy, she also says, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji-kun, I will even take Usopp at this point, right? So she's just dropping pars against Usopp straight away. But yeah, she's basically calling the monster trio. And she's calling for help, which, again, when we go through this again, I'll touch on a bit deeper. She says, am I out of my mind? I don't remember changing either, as in changing her clothes. Where is this place? Am I in a dream? Right? So we had the ear god, and now that's Nami, whose suffix is Ami, meaning heavenly, and she's connected to weather, right? Which ties her to Emu. Now Nami's saying, "Am I in a dream?" Nami sees something at the end of a hallway, and then she hears Usopp's voice calling her. She runs over to Usopp, but trips on a Lego block and falls to the ground because, you know, the floor is just covered in the like little Lego bristles, like the little circle things that are on the top of the Lego blocks. There is a name for them, dude, but I cannot remember it for the life of me. When Nami gets up, she sees a giant hedgehog in front of her. Nami's shock face is hilarious too, supposedly, right? Okie dokie. Let me just share. Let me just publish the stream in the Discord, and I can tell the others that we're live. If the thumbnail doesn't look right, like, let me know as well. Like, the aspect ratio should be right, but for some reason it's showing a bit weird. But YouTube does do that, like, it's just broken. I think Critical made a video recently about YouTube streaming being dead or something. Right, okay, where are we at? Okay, right, so yeah, Nami runs over to Usopp, trips over the bumpy floor. When she gets up, she sees a giant hedgehog in front of her, and she, like, shits her pants, basically. And we get another, like, funny, like, face reaction. Nami runs from the hedgehog. While she's trying to escape, Nami sees Usopp being attacked by a giant cat wearing a crown, right? Usopp is also wearing the Viking outfit and has a whole fake beard thing going on. So Nami and Usopp end up running away together from the giant hedgehog and cat in a courtyard in the middle of a castle, Again, I'll touch on it deeper on the second read through, but there's a cat with a crown, right? So now we've had the ear god, we've had Nami saying about being in a dream, and now we have the cat with a crown. Like, tons of kind of like Marijoa Imu parallels. But yeah, Nami and Usopp decide that they have to take on the giant, like, cat and the hedgehog and whatnot. So Nami and Zeus attack the hedgehog with a thunder attack and defeat it. Unfortunately, the giant hedgehog falls on the giant cat's head, and the cat is electrocuted by Zeus also, like, when they touch. But the giant cat isn't knocked out, and instead, like, gets real pissed at Nami and Usopp. So Nami then says the classic line, I have a bad feeling about this, and Usopp says, same here. So, excuse me. As they run away, again, Nami asks Usopp if he has more information about what happened to him, you know, like how they got there, blah, blah, blah. Nami says, Usopp, how much do you know about our current situation? And Usopp replies, when I opened my eyes, I was already in this place. You are probably the same, right? We were on the giant ship and getting drunk off that ... the ellipsis. And Nami says, that's right, that alcohol. I think the giant said it can make you hallucinate, right? So then Nami and Usopp stop because they reach, like, a balcony, Lego balcony. Usopp faces the giant cat since he thinks it's just a hallucination from the absinthe. But the giant cat is obviously real, and Usopp just gets, like, absolutely slapped and goes flying. So Nami and giant cat fall together too from the balcony. So they go over the edge of the balcony, which is Nami and the cat with the crown, into the castle backyard, where Usopp is sort of, like, located, where Usopp ends up after he fights, where he gets slapped by the giant cat, right? The giant cat transforms into a massive lion and then attacks them one more time. Nami cries while she uses Usopp's body as a shield. But as she does it, basically, the monster trio arrive. And Sanji rolls in with the classic line, for the crime of bringing my loved one to tears, you deserve death, Ifrit Jambe. Luffy uses Gear 4, Gomu Gomu no Elephant Whip, and Zoro uses, I'll try to say it, Santuryu Kokuju U Tatsumaki, which is 3-sword style black rope dragon twister. So the fact that, like, in one of the recent chapters someone's brought up dragon as another move, I think
probably people will get hyped about because of Dawn and Dusk and Kusolan's video, right? Talking about dragons, and Emu being a dragon. But Nami and Usopp are like screaming, and then in like a super. So this is why I've got the image on the background is because in a super sick double spread, supposedly, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji appear doing a combo attack to like beat the lion, and it turns back into a cap when they beat it. The double spread is very similar to the one from chapter 162, where they defeated the Sandora lizard, the monster trio did. So basically we're seeing a copy. So in 162 we saw this, which I've put the image on the back in the background, right? And this is a copy of that, and each of their moves are upgraded. And instead of defeating a Sandora lizard, they're defeating this huge lion. Okie dokie. So Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji are wearing Viking outfits and capes. Luffy's got the helmet with the long horns and has an axe on his back. Zoro has a mask on his eyes, kind of like ski goggles. And Sanji has a sword on his back, right? Similar to what we saw with Nami in at the end of the previous chapter, last panel of the previous chapter. So what did I want to say? So on the thumbnail, I've put that image, right, from volume 2. That's Oda's drawing of Luffy from volume 2. And now we're seeing in 11 but whatever the chapter is, I can't remember. It's in the title, right? 1127. Now we're seeing Oda do that again. So yeah, that's pretty heavy foreshadowing. Well, we already knew. It's not really foreshadowing because we knew we're going Elbaf, but that's why it's on the thumbnail, basically. Okie dokie. So Zoro reacts after they've done the monster trio attack on the lion, which turns back into a cat. Zoro's like, it's just a cat now. What the hell? And Sanji's like, Nami-san, I've been so worried about you. Nami says, Sanji, I was so scared. Usopp even died, and then she's cut off by Usopp, who says, I'm alive. Damn you, I'll get you back for using me as a shield. Cough. Pretty arbitrary line, but to me that, I don't know, that's sus. Like, it definitely feels like it's going to come up later on. So in the huge double page of, and it's the final part of the chapter, right? It's a huge double page of Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji all reunited in the castle backyard. We can see a massive tree in the distance, which is probably Yggdrasil, right? Mentioned at the beginning of the chapter. And we discover that Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji were the ones that defeated the giant bees and the ear god, Rabbit, at the beginning of the chapter. Luffy says, the roasted rabbit we had just now was delicious. She. There are even bigger ones around here, though I'll beat them all up if they taste that good. Zoro says we should look for the sea and our ship first. We don't know what happened to our crew right now. Sanji says, since we are on the topic of food, the bees and hive you just sent flying, they're a great source of nutrients, you know. Nami, crying in shock, says, how are you guys already used to all of this? Just where are we? And so basically it's pretty, and that's the end. Break next week. Jump cover and color spread in chapter 1128 as well. So spicy, but I'm going to go back through the chapter now. Okay, so standard, right? The chapter ends. Throughout the chapter, we've got Nami and Usopp very scared, crying and all this stuff. Nami using Usopp as a human shield, which is classic. And we have some absolute classic monster trio moments. And the big deal with the monster trio thing here is, like I said, in 162, there's the monster trio attack against the Sandora lizard, and in this it's the same doubles page sort of thing going on, but instead with upgraded each of the Straw Hats having upgraded attacks, or each of the monster trio having upgraded attacks. But anyway, let's go back to the beginning, and let's break this down, because again Oda is just cooking. A little different from what we see in Egghead, but still. So again, it's only a short chapter, 15 pages. Title of 1127 is Adventure in the Mysterious Land. The cover page is Yamato meeting Inarashi at the shore in Wano, and Inarashi is now the daimyo of Kuri, right? Which is weird, but okay. And Inarashi basically is expressing to Yamato he's also troubled by the kidnappings. Then we cut to first page of the chapter, and it starts in Elbaf, in a giant village whose... When I say giant village, it's giant, but it's like 4 giants, right? It's like everything's big. The houses are all made of Lego blocks, big Lego blocks, just like we saw in the last page of the previous chapter. Sup, Lucas? What's going on, brother? Sub to Lucas's channel as well if you're watching this. Where were we? So the giants talk about a fire that suddenly started in the the local forest. They go to put out the fire so that it won't damage the Yggdrasil tree. We see the giants are shocked because there's also giant bees falling from the sky, as if they were attacked by something, which by the end of the chapter is, revealed what that is. Another giant talks about something that happened in the forest. So basically Giant 1 says, according to the people in the forest, the rumble just now is the sound of the Ea god falling to the ground. So Ea god, like Earth god, right? E-A-R, god, missing the TH. Giant 2 says, that can't be. How can something happen to a rabbit of that size, right? So the Ea god, we can assume, is a huge rabbit, which, it has big ears. Right, cut to the Big Stein Castle, the Lego castle where Nami is in. The whole thing it's massive, we've seen it from the outside. The whole thing is massive, made of giant Lego blocks, and it's called Big Stein Castle, which I believe Stein is Nordvanstein Castle, the castle that the Disney castle's based off. Just, tie into all this fantasy vibes, and we know that Oda's got loads of Disney in One Piece. So the castle is located somewhere in Elbaf, since we can see Yggdrasil in the background, right, which is a massive tree. We can see that Nami has defeated a giant bee thanks to Zeus's electric attacks, and Zeus asked Nami, where are they? Nami's crying her eyes out, super scared, and through tears she says she doesn't know. Last thing she remembers is they were on the giant's ship. Nami crying says, someone help me. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji-kun, I'll even take Usopp at this point. Am I out of my mind? I don't even remember changing either. Talking about the Viking clothes she's wearing. Where is this place? Am I in a dream? So the dream thing, pretty spicy, right? Nami sees something at the end of the hallway when she hears Usopp's voice calling her. She runs there but trips on the Lego blocks and falls to the ground because the little things, which I'll Google in a minute, what they are called, the little dots on the Lego bricks, she trips over one of them. When Nami gets up, she sees a giant hedgehog in front of her. Nami's shock face is one of the classic, One Piece meme, scared faces. Nami runs from the hedgehog while she's trying to escape, and she sees Usopp being attacked by a giant cat wearing a crown. Usopp's wearing a Viking outfit too and has the whole fake Viking beard going on and stuff like that. So Nami and Usopp end up running away together from the giant hedgehog and cat in the courtyard in the middle of the castle. However, Nami and Usopp decide they must face the giant creatures, which is pretty cool, I like that. And Nami and Zeus attack the hedgehog with a thunder attack and defeat it. Unfortunately for them, the giant hedgehog falls on top of the giant cat's head, and the cat is electrocuted. But the cat isn't knocked out, and instead just is super raged. So cat is aggroed. Nami says, I have a bad feeling about this. Usopp says, same here. As they run away again, Nami asks Usopp if he has more information about what happened with them. she said basically, Usopp, how much do you know about our current situation? And Usopp replies saying, when I opened my eyes, I was already in this place. You are probably the same, right? We were on the giant ship and we were getting drunk off that ... ellipses. Nami says, that's right, the alcohol. I think that giant said it can make you hallucinate. Yo, okay. What a time to be alive, save money. Love you guys, man. What's good? Right. Nami and Giant Cat fall together, 2 from the balcony. Oh no, whoops. Okay. So Nami and Usopp just start running away and they hit a dead end at a balcony. Usopp turns around, faces the Giant Cat, and starts thinking it's just a hallucination, like pretending it's not real. Classic Usopp. However, the cat is very, very real and slaps Usopp flying. So after which the giant cat carries on going and hits Nami over the balcony and into the backyard of the castle, where Usopp is after, which is where Usopp ended up after being slapped by the cat, right? So Nami and Usopp are now reunited in the lower garden yard sort of thing over the balcony edge. Suddenly, Giant Cat transforms into a massive lion and goes in for one big attack. Nami cries while she uses Usopp's body as a shield, which is hilarious. That's the moment the monster trio arrives. So Sanji comes in saying, for the crime of bringing my loved one to tears, you deserve death. And death is highlighted. Ifrit Jambe and the E-Pulse strike, basically. Luffy uses Gear 4th, Gomu Gomu, no Elephant Whip, and Zoro uses Santuryu Kokuju Tatsumaki, which is 3 sword style black rope dragon twister. Say that 3 times fast, right? In an epic double spread, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji appear to be doing a combo attack that defeats the lion. But the spicy thing about this is, as I said, it's a copy of of chapter 162, the double spread, which I've put in the background, and each of them are doing an upgraded attack that we saw in the 162 double spread when they're attacking the lizard. But this time they're attacking the giant lion, which turns pretty sharply back into a cat. We see their outfits as well, all wearing Viking outfits and capes. Luffy wears a helmet with the long horns and has an axe on his back, which correlates to what I put on the thumbnail, right, which is in volume 2 of One Piece. Zoro has a mask on his eyes, which looks like ski goggles, and Sanji has a sword on his back, which is similar to what we saw with Nami in the final panel of the last chapter. Zoro's confused why it turns into a cat. Sanji says, Nami-san, I've been so worried. Nami says, Sanji, I was so scared. Usopp even died, and ... She's interrupted by Usopp, who shouts about the fact he's alive. Damn you, I'll get you back for this, for using me as a shield, and starts coughing. In the amazing final double page of the chapter, Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji are reunited in the castle backyard. We can still see this massive... We discover that... Oh, let me see who's... Have we got someone joining us kindly? Let's have a look. Oh no. Weird. Okie dokie. So we see all the guys reunited in the backyard, and we see Yggdrasil in the background, and we discover that Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, the monster trio, have been the one that have been defeating the giant bees and the ear god at the beginning of the chapter. So Luffy says, the roasted rabbit we had just now was delicious. She. There are even bigger ones around here, though. I'll beat them up all if they taste as good. We should look for the sea and our ship first. That's Zoro then saying, we should look for the ship and find the sea first. We don't know what happened to our crew right now. Sanji then jumps in with, since we're on the topic of food, these bee and the hive you just sent flying, they're a great source of nutrition, Nami, crying in shock, says, how are you guys already so used to this? Just where are we? In other words, why are you guys so calm? Which they say pretty much every arc, right? And then that's the end of the chapter. Break next week. Jump cover in the next one. There's a jump cover and color spread in 1128. So yeah, okay. So that's the 2 read-throughs. How do we all feel about that? How do we all feel about this? Hopefully everyone's happy about the chapter. Still kind of adding to this confusion vibes as well, which like might, Oda is that big a chef. It might be intentional with the hallucinate, like with the absinthe and the fact it's said to make people hallucinate. Maybe the reader's supposed to be a bit discombobulated right now, but it's still cool. I'm usually not a fan of like the intro chapters. I don't think they're bad. I just, it's just not as spicy as what we've just had in Egghead, but that's pretty cool. We got the monster trio, which is always gas. Right, when will chapter be out on TCB roundabout? Okay, TCB. So in the server, there's a bot that will drop it automatically as soon as it comes out. And I would say it's probably due out about 9 p.m. my time is EST, 4 EST. So hopefully, I'm thinking 4 EST, you should have that TCB. Basically, it should, I would say in like 2-3 hours, but there's been no Raws and the spoilers were a little bit late. TCB was really quick last week. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's always hard to judge, right? Because you kind of get into a pattern of like, for me, it's around 4 p.m. usually, right? And the spoilers kind of follow that too. But it obviously now and then it'll be a later one, and if it's a later one, it throws some people off. And then when the following week comes, you have people saying, "Oh, it's going to be later and stuff." But it should be 4 EST, I think. There's no reason for the delay, and we've got a break next week as well, so they can have a rest then, right? Am I right? Okay. Feel free to fire any questions in chat and stuff, and I'll just chop them up as I go. I'll give this chapter a proper breakdown now, just stuff I found interesting. But any questions you have, just fire them in the chat, and or fire them in the Discord or whatever. Really, just tag me. It doesn't really matter. So, okie dokie. So, start with the cover. This is a weird cover. So, like, Inuarashi is now the Kuri of is the daimyo of Kuri, not the Kuri of daimyo. I'm not sure I think, right, that Hiyori is probably supposed to be the daimyo of Kuri, but she's probably got a role in the flower capital, which is weird. I don't know, because Momo, of course, like, he's the shogun, right? And so it explains why he wouldn't have Kuri, which Odin took back, and I imagine is probably the home of Amatsuki, right? So you'd expect if Momo is the shogun and lives in the Wano capital, then Kuri would be resided over by Hiyori, who's like, not only is she like basically this 800-year grudge between the Kurozumi and Kozuki, they kind of like peak with her and Momo and stuff, and her bloodline. She's got the green hair, she played the song, she witnessed Orochi die, her retainer Denjiro cut the head off the snake, right? So she's super like poignant, and I imagine she should have been, yo JJ, what up? Make sure you follow JJ and OPU and everyone else in the world. Yeah, I don't know. To me, there's a reason there. Like, Inuarashi obviously has ties through the Mink to what happened 800 years ago and stuff like that. So maybe that comes into it. But I just think like it should be Hiyori. So maybe we'll find out something about Hiyori that she's like now. I don't know. She works for Momo or something. Strange. Yeah, like this stream. So yeah, I don't know about that, man. The cover, it's a sick cover story, and it's like super rich and dense. And we saw them rebuilding Odin's castle in the previous one, right? I think it was. So yeah, maybe some time skipped or something, but I don't know. That doesn't seem right. But like I say, Inuarashi seems troubled about the kidnappings too. Kidnappings being like a little side B plot. which hopefully we'll get some closure on, and it's not going to go onto like two-piece. He was a retainer for Odin, so I can't imagine anyone outside the scabbards taking leadership out of it. I agree. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, but Hiyori is Toki's daughter, right? And Toki was the one who was acting daimyo, because Odin, so basically Odin went to Kuri, he revamped all the land, took over, like basically got all the outlaws and made them good dudes, kind of Joy Boy pirate vibes, right? And then he rebuilt the castle and he made the Paradise Farm, kind of where he grew the food and stuff, kind of like a parallel to Emu's garden, right? And then when he disappeared, yeah, as many fathers and men do in One Piece, Toki then ran it. So it would make sense to me that Toki's children would then be running, would be daimyos, right? But that can't be Momo because he's shogun, so surely it should be Hiyori. Also, just on that note as well, every single relevant character to Wano lore has either X blood type or F blood type, except for, I believe, like 3, which is Hiyori with XF, Momo does not have XF, Orochi does have XF, and I think Denjiro is the other one who has XF. Denjiro goes through transformation. So I don't know, that to me just screams that like she's royalty or something, right? Like, so maybe Oda's doing something like that with her. But like you say, the scab ain't, well, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, right, let's just get straight again into this chapter and actually like spit about it. So we're straight in Elbaf in a giant village. The whole thing is made out of Lego blocks, and there are giants, right? Like walking around and stuff like that, right? So this tells us that, oh dude, sorry, I've been talking into the back of my mic. I'm so sorry. So this basically tells us that this is an actual region. Like if this is hallucination, there are other people this is isekai vibes, you know, this isn't just trippiness and stuff like that. This is probably a region in Elbaf made of Lego, which was not what I was expecting personally. I was expecting some like alternative reality vibe. But it could be that each region is a different fable, something like that. It's strange. It is strange, yeah. And immediately, Oda jumps into the parallels with Marishwa and Emu. So it's a huge castle. There's a huge tree in the background, which is the Yggdrasil tree, was presumably Yggdrasil tree. We see that the giants are shocked because there's giant bees falling from the skies if they've been attacked by something. And then another giant talks about something that happened in the forest. Okay, so very interesting, right? We've seen a tree, we've seen a big castle, we're seeing stuff falling from the sky, and we have mention of a forest. So lots of Marishwa kind of god vibes, you know, like the gods that were mentioned in Skypiea and stuff like that. And then that's, you know, further. Legos were originally made with wood instead of plastic, and Elbaf obviously has that. Whoa, I like it, Lucas. So maybe these are Adam wood blocks, right? Even though that's traded in the black market. We know that you can build stuff from Adam wood, like the Mary, the Sunny. So, right, yeah. So we've got this like whole, it's evoking the whole gods of Skypiea vibe. You know, you might think I'm tripping, but that is for sure. They mention the forest, they mention the Marishwa type castle, and they mention the sky, right? And then the giant, literally, first thing he says is, according to the people in the forest, the rumble just now is the sound of Ea god falling to the ground. Okay, so people in the forest, right? Like kind of like Skypiea vibes and stuff like that. Sorry, I just got a couple of messages. Yeah, like the Skypiea vibes. What happened in Skypiea after Nolan cut the head off the snake? The ground starts rumbling, Earth God opens up, Nolan gets swallowed by the earth. And this giant saying that this is the sound of the Ea god falling to the ground. Ea god being is a parallel to Earth God, because it's Ea, E-A-R, Earth, E-A-R-T-H, right? The Ea god is later on revealed to be a rabbit.
but we pretty much can guarantee, not necessarily with there's other trees in Elbaf. Okay, cool. The rabbit thing is an emu parallel, we know, because like the rabbit's probably going to be white, right? Because of the whole myth around the rabbit, the whale, and the elephant. It's a classic Chinese-Japanese tale. If you do not know it, check that out. It is wild. Like it connects so. It's only short and it's like it's hype. It talks about basically the whale and the elephant being put against each other by the rabbit, and the rabbit tricking them, pretending to be a moon god. So yeah, Oda's drawing loads of connections there to emu. If I'm rambling too much, feel free to say, like, because that was a ramble. And the second giant replies, "That can't be. How can something happen to a rabbit of that size?" Which is interesting because, like, Luffy isn't that big, you know, but maybe he used a giant form. Luffy just beating up a god on the first day in Elbaf. Exactly, Lucas. Exactly. Cooking. Not just any god, the ear god, right? Which he gets, the rabbit gets the name from that because he's got long ears, but it's a play on the word earth god. And the white rabbit, which is emu. So we cut to a shot of the whole castle, which is huge, all made out of Lego bricks, and it's called Big Stein Castle. Like I said, right? Stein is probably Nordvanstein. If you Google that castle, you will know what it looks like, and it's what the Disney castle was based off. And the lore behind that castle is pretty trippy as well. It involves like quite intense romance and stuff like that. So yeah, spicy. Let me see if my audio is still. Then we can see, again, we see a huge tree in the background, right? So this is, if anyone saw Redon's hints, he posted the Erd tree from Elden Ring. That is the vibe that we're, you know, that's what we're getting. We can see Nami, it cuts to basically Nami's already defeated one of these massive bees thanks to Zeus's electric, but Nami's still shitting her pants, she's very scared, and Zeus asks where Nami is. Nami's crying and all that, says the last thing she remembers is they were on the giant ship. So this is like nothing deep, I imagine. This is, except for maybe the lightning strike on a giant bee. But anyway, it's not that deep. It's basically just Nami talking about, you know, like just giving some exposure on like the fact she doesn't actually know what happened to Eva, not just the reader. She shouts out for Luffy Zoro. She shouts out for the monster trio and says, even Usopp I'll take Usopp at this point. After which she says, I don't remember anything. Am I in a dream? And then Usopp appears pretty much a few like minutes later. So kind of weird. Sun God versus Ear God 1-0. It might be 2-0, Lucas, if we're going over 800 years. You know, Joy Boy presumably has been here before. Yep. So Nami says about being in a dream, which, let's just face it, if that's Yggdrasil, this whole arc is going to be dream-esque, which might tie us to Uta, potentially. Because I know, like, I'm not one of these people that thinks all the films are going to be in the canon, but I mean, her powers are just too close to the deep stuff in the story, right? So Nami runs over to Usopp after Usopp calls for her, and she trips over the bumpy floor, and then they see the whole. Excuse me. Sorry. Where we see the whole hedgehog situation. So we've got the whole hedgehog here and the scene with the whole cat, right? The big cat. So the hedgehog, there could be something to it, right? Bear quills, you know? There could be something to it, but I don't know anything about hedgehogs or anything that makes them particularly relevant or why we're seeing a hedgehog. But it matches the whole garden theme with the bees, and that the relevance to that might be Giant Jack, like... or it could just be a parallel to Emu's Garden and the Paradise Farm that I mentioned that Odin set up in Curry. But yeah, we're seeing like kind of plants and insects and stuff like that. That's the vibe, right? But then we also have a cat that turns into a lion, and the cat's wearing a crown. Now, Oda might not touch on the relevance of this, or maybe he will. Maybe like the owner of the cat gets pissed, kind of Gargamel Smurf style. But I would say that the importance of it is the cat is another parallel to Emu, and the cat just so happens to be wearing a crown. So it's just heavy. Oda's like packing in this whole like Emu parallels, and it might be because of Elbaf's connection to the sun god, right? And how the sort of opposite of the earth god is maybe the sun god. The One Piece treasure reveal is nearing, Sozu. I completely agree, brother. I completely agree. Hedgehog could be Sonic reference Speed God or Spike God. The spike thing's interesting. It could be something to do with the spikes. I might have to start reading about hedgehogs, or I could just wait for Tekken to drop a really cool video about it, and learn that way. Nami runs the hedgehog. Right, so they fight the Nami. Okay, so another bit of evidence that suggests that Emu is a parallel to the cat with the crown is because Nami fights eventually Nami and Usopp fight the cat, right? Nami has weather abilities. The suffix of Nami is Ami, A-M-I, which we see in Amitsuki, and Ami means heavenly, right? So divine. That's like a divine connotation, which Emu is trying to be, right? Emu is trying to be divine. Nami is naturally divine. Whether or not she's actually a Neurona herself, I'll be interested to find out. Spicy though, spicy. And it's pretty cool that they actually, like, Oda had them. They're running away, and both Usopp and Nami stop, turn around, and attack. Yeah, they like get into combat. So we're kind of dispelling this idea of the Nami being a glass cannon, and Usopp is something I've been thinking about recently. It is ungodly, his like resilience. Like, it was just kind of a meme at first, but there's no joke that if Emu is a cat girl, oh my god. Well, cats obviously do connect to Alabasta, right? And the Nefertari, sea cats, and ancient Egypt. And multiple lives. Cats have 9 lives. Void Centuries started 900 years ago. So interesting. So right, they again, Usopp and Nami give a little bit of exposure, saying, didn't the giants say something about booze, absinthe, hallucinations? Kind of like Oda giving us some very soft bullshitty, like, this is how it connects, which no one really cares about. We're all reading One Piece, we're just happy we're in this trippy world. Now we get to the balcony, and they go over the balcony and they end up in the backyard. Now, I'm not sure, but and this is a complete reach, I know, but just the balcony going over it, that's kind of Rapunzel, Jack and the Beanstalk-esque, but also kind of like, I don't know, it just makes me think about Upper Yard and Skypiea and people falling from there, or descending from grace almost. And then okay, so now we have. So the cat arrives to the backyard where Nami and Usopp are, and it turns into the lion, right? The lion is symbolic of the beast, okay? So we've got the cat and the crown, parallel Nemu, turn into some beast form, right? And then the beast form is defeated by the monster trio. Sanji uses Ifrit Jambe, right? Then Luffy uses Gomu Gomu no Elephant Whip, right? Give forth. And then Zoro uses the Black Rope Dragon Twister. So Black Rope Dragon Twister, as I said, pretty interesting, because if this is a parallel to Emu, maybe it suggests that the monster trio will attack Emu together. As like I said earlier, this double page spread is a copy of the 162 double page spread, just with upgraded attacks. So maybe there'll be a third one, and that third one will have upgraded attacks again, so gear 5. three sword style something else, or I don't know. And then and then Sanji with his like peak Ifrit Jinbei form, basically, against Emu. But as I said, it's strange. Black Rope Dragon Twister is the name of Zoro's move, and Dawn in the Dusk, as a lot of people know, and Kusoland, who is a genius. Check his videos out. Both of them are on this Emu as a dragon hype, right? So yeah, interesting. Some more foreshadowing for them. So kudos to them, guys. Also, we get the new swag, right? We get the new outfits. Nothing too spicy going on there, really, at first, I'd say. Like, the most interesting of it is just being able to see it from Volume 2 of One Piece, almost 30 years ago, to now, where we now have Luffy actually wearing it, which in the join chat box, I've actually put a part of that Volume 2 picture there, but it's on the thumbnail as well. So yeah, the outfit's looking pretty cool. The weapons they have are probably relevant. For some reason, Zoro has goggles on. Pretty useless considering he's got one eye. But okay, I'm down. Sanji, one of the spiciest things in this entire chapter, despite the like deep parallels, is Sanji has a sword. Like, I mean, what does that mean? Like, Hakuba, Cavendish, when he's possessed, becomes Hakuba. Potentially it ties to Durandal, right? Which there are loads of clues to that, right? And other people being possessed by swords, so further evidence. But when Cavendish is in Hakuba form, Hakuba is said to be so quick, it's like the wind slashing. And we've literally, I'm not a power scaler, but we've had, I can't remember who it was against, but we had this feat where he beat someone who's said to be like one of the best, quickest people in the world, and the person didn't even see him when they attacked. So I'm curious to see if Sanji, being super quick, starts using this sword, and then we're gonna have this whole Zoro Sanji mini little sword beef rivalry thing, which would be absolutely amazing. And like, we are in Elbaf, right? Like Odin's I keep calling him Odin. Oda's not a Kazuki. Oda's wet dream is Elbaf, right? So we're probably... I love it if Oda just gave us all this cool stuff and just, gave us little like bits of lore in between, because I know there's a load of lore to get into and stuff, but just be cool to see Oda having fun and yeah. Touch on something Lucas said later on in the arc when they have their little reunion in the backyard, the 5 Straw Hats, and they're all in their outfits. Luffy obviously goes on to say the roasted rabbit we had now is delicious. So Luffy, right, he eats the rabbit, which is called the ear god, right, which we are saying is a parallel of Emu, like everything else in this chapter pretty much is paralleling Emu. The cap, the crown, blah blah blah. So he eats the earth god. That is weird. That's like back in like thousands of years ago, when people used to talk about the sun eating planets and stuff like that, right? Like the almighty eating planets and all this business. So yeah, that's eerie. And like Lucas said, first thing that Luffy does when he gets there is he eats the earth god, or the ear god as they call it, which is pretty wild, and it's going to have some consequences. But the reason why I bring it up is because I recently dropped a video about vampirism, right, in Emu, and this idea that like there could be some sort of consuming of people going on in One Piece, like Blackbeard put a cloak over Whitebeard and then got his power. So we know whatever the method is that Whitebeard extracted his power had to be physically hidden from the it was like alluded to that it was being physically hidden to the reader, right? So the actual process is important. We know that Dracula Mihawk has tons of ties to vampires, blah blah blah, and Perona has ties to Emu Neurona, right? Particularly through the horror Nomi, which looks just like the Gorosei ghost members and stuff like yokai forms. Luffy did try to eat crocodile once, right? That'd be careful. That would be crazy if it successfully ate the final villain, right? That is what I'm a bit confused about, like, because not only that, but we are going down this road at the moment that Emu, we've just seen Saturn's defeat, and it adds to this idea that Emu might be split into parts, right? And that Joy Boy is theorized by some, particularly Dak and Randy in that collab, that they were split, that Joy Boy was split into many parts, and they tied it to the Ra myth. Now the Ra myth, I believe says 6 parts, but I might be completely wrong. But some people believe that Joy Boy is only split into 6 parts. Whereas Dak and Randy, I think it's the poneglyphs that are parts of Joy Boy. Now, if that's the case, then this whole unity thing is like completely encompassed by Luffy eating Emu, which is wild. If that's where we're going, like, then that's crazy. That's crazy. Some people even believe that Emu, like Luffy's dream, is tied to eating, even with the reactions from the other Straw Hats. So I don't know. That is weird. And then Luffy literally says, there are even bigger ones around here, though I'll beat them all up if they taste good. I mean, come on, like, that's eerie, dude. And Zoro then replies, we should look for the sea and our ship first. What's the sea in Japanese? Umi. Emu backwards. So yeah, it's pretty wild, dude. This is like Sozo said, we are getting to the end of the story, so maybe Oda doesn't give a chuff as much, and he's just happy to throw some of the stuff out here, like yeah, and Nami accidentally electrocuting the cat with the crown, right? That's crazy. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the deep stuff in the chapter. Like, it's mostly parallels to Emu, like I said, with a little bit of exposure. We get a break next week, but maybe we should talk about, I'm not sure if people want to, but we can talk about some other stuff if you want, like chapter based or the previous chapter, or some connotations or what you guys thought of the chapter. I suppose you haven't really read it yet, though, most of us, right? So that's probably a no-go. Luffy's stomach's going to stir up an incident on Elbaf at this rate. Yeah, interesting that he can expand, right? Like, so can Chopper, who has a Hitonomi, and Bonnie, who has an unconfirmed devil fruit. Like, which is, I believe, a Hito, right? There's no reason why it shouldn't be a Hito. It should be a Hito, in my opinion. And all three of them, when they eat loads of food, quickly they expand, and then they push it down, which is what we see with Cypher Pole and Life Return. Excuse me. Yeah, spicy. Ooh, excuse me. We were up late last night writing, so I'm a little bit tired. We're still writing this very nearly finished 18-page Nazjuro script. And the video's already like started pre-editing as well. So what else have we got? So we got a break next week. What are we going to be doing in the meantime? So we have Theory Day on Sunday. I can stream it if people want. I'll ask around if people want us to stream it. But basically, Theory Day is going to be a 12-hour sesh, open invite. You know, you don't have to be confident or anything. You don't have to talk. You write your theories, but anyone is allowed and encouraged to jump in during them 12 hours. Post either 1 or even 2 theories if you want, maybe a more detailed one, or maybe a brief theory. It can be your worst theory, your best theory, your weirdest theory, or theory that you've heard from somewhere else. I know that Reddit's actually, for a change, popping off, like, with some good stuff. So there's probably a lot of theories on there. I know Twitter theories blowing up. So there's going to be a lot of us, probably at least 20 or 30 of us, like, going, sort of just dropping our theories, like a bit of a, think of it as a conference. You don't have to all be in the same call. You can go into different calls, or you can go into different channels. It will just be like loads of different theories posted around, and then from there, if people are interested, you can always, you know, ping me if you want your theory made into a video, or if you want to add to a theory, or just whatever, you know, just like, you only live once, and believe me, like, there's what 400 and something 60 people in the TED server. There's 100 people nearly in this new server already. So all of us started somewhere. So just jump in, ping us, have a conversation or ask a question about something, and we will cook. You can cook. Theory day on the Discord server. Yes, it is, my brother. It will be. There's a bit of promo just in the Discord already for it, but tomorrow I'll be, after I've done a bit of more work, I'll be putting it like public. I'll be like making a category for it in the Discord. There'll be a whole section for it, all that stuff, and anyone can listen in. You don't have to contribute a theory. You can just listen in. There'll be people like talking. There'll be people writing. We've been doing this for years, so yeah, it's like a amnesty for theories and kind of an open day for noobs, like so yeah. And in terms of the channel stuff, we've got the Egghead recap, which is way longer than I thought. Way longer. It's like, I thought it was 45 minutes. I think it's about an hour and maybe more, hour and 20. Full Egghead recap, brothers and sisters. Like, we're dropping it all, like, all it's animated. I mean, I've used like the actual animations, and it's all paneled and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. I'll put some rain sound in the back as well, and like make sure the audio is crisp. And after that, we've got the, as I say, it's probably 2 hour NoChillDill theory and Nozdro versus Zoro, and like the whole journey, the whole journey about Nozdro 800 years ago up until now, and how it ends with Zoro. We also have a video about how Blackbeard's building Joy Boy's crew, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. Anyway, on that note, muchos lovos. If you've got any, think you want to add, just ping me in the server after the stream. I'll be about for a couple hours. Maybe smoke a doobie or something. Get some food, but yeah, anyway, you guys have a good day, man. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone enjoys the TCB drop in a couple hours, and yeah, much love. Peace, 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 I think. Okay, let's end it.